actually holding a portion of Torah is called actually Balak, and as I said, it's 2 or 3 portion or 4 portions that we are going to read in this month are actually portion that deals with each portion deal with a different depth of transformation, but certainly Balak is the point or the verge. What happened in the inner processes of a person when he or she stands on the verge of transformation. So actually, we meet this happening on the verge of Israel coming into the land of Israel. Okay, so it sort of what it suggests to us that when we are in spirituality, when we are on the verge of change, everything that is deeply harbor fears of that change, or basically fear from that quality of Israel to take charge on our life. Everything in a person will come up to fight this transformation. So it's one can say it's a picture of that is being painted as though it's the arena of it is history, but as we know that history is actually a reflection of the processes of the story. His story is the processes of, or the inner processes of each one in relation to him, in relation to the Creator. Okay, so what actually and how it starts is with seeing. Okay, so I would like us to hold the beginning of this portion, and in it we can learn a few things, which is to do with the different points of view, which are coming to meet each other and to actually become a decisive point. So you'll open chapter 22. Now, you can see that chapter 22, verse 1, actually belongs to Chukat, belongs to the other portion, and actually the portion of Balak starting on the second verse. So the gap is actually the different view or sight of the way Torah or the Bible was coming into division first as it was given. So as it was given, it was sort of divided naturally into verses. Then there was a cycle of reading, which let's say had a few days in it, but it did not actually refer to the content. It refers more to the days of reading. So the division of the chapters is a Christian division, and then the name of the portion is actually the Jewish or the Israelite division. So you can see that there is a difference between how we actually call the chapters, so that we point out that the portion starts on the second, not where the chapter starts. So the portion of Balak, meaning the portion of this view, starts on the second verse of chapter 22. Okay. Now we start, and it starts, and Balak, yeah, and Balak, the son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. Okay. So it starts actually because of the grammar, it actually starts in Hebrew with a verb to see. And what one and the seeing, one can say, if I were to understand, and the seeing of Balak, son of Zippor, was that of what Israel did to the Amorites. So it starts with the ability to see. Okay. So the ability to see of Balak and Zippor, Balak, the son of bird, yeah. And the bird, as we know, and as the Zohar taught us, is that it has to do with different portion of the spirit. So actually, what Balak is seeing is that all humanity is on the verge of a change or a transformation that is going to be caused by Israel in what they are going to actually introduce as what is going to dominate the history of human being, seeing that they already defeated everything that naturally would be considered the power of the time, like Egypt and the Amorites, and what happened with Sichon, and what happened with all other, one can say, nation or forces that actually stood in their way to fulfill their mission. So the transformation is to do always the verge of transformation. When we speak in internal terms, speaks about not only the fact that something is going to change, but the perception is going to change its, let's say, its tools or its apparatus, or it's going to be so different. So we have to actually depart from everything that we held dear, or we held as the paradigm of our perception and the paradigm of what actually support the way we knew things to be. Okay. So actually, the Zohar tries to take us in Balak to the cause of, or let's say, to the inner cause of transformation. The inner cause of transformation is actually the story or the journey of all spirit from their source, and their source is the first Adam, and let's say the two possibilities of reformation that were not able to fulfill the reformation, and they are Cain and Hevel. So there is a meeting point of transmigration of spirit, which actually they sort of set the stage, or set the not only the qualities but the way of the processes that happens, because we know that we have in the portion of Balak the main character, which is Balak and Bilam, okay, are actually sort of are painted as a transmigration of Cain in Balak, and Hevel, meaning those parts of the pil or klipa of Hevel, or the parts that were not yet reformed, which are represented in Bilam. Therefore, Bilam will stand in a way in comparison to Moses, because Moses is his spirit origin is Hevel. So we have two different, one can say, parts of Hevel coming into an arena in which they need to be sorted out. Okay? So all the time when we meet Moses, his transformation, or the meeting point that causes in him transformation, is the meeting point with the different appearances of the spirit, whether it's in the form of a soul of the spirit, the ghost of the spirit, or the spirit of the spirit. So he could meet them, let's say, in the Egyptian that he would be forced to kill, and to see, it means that when he looked whether from that that appearances of spirit could come any reformation, and if not, his duty is to actually sort of cause it to ascend in order to transmute itself into a different appearance. So the next time that actually Moses will meet with a reformed, one can say, reformed appearance of the spirit of Cain, it will be in Yitro. And here, Balak is considered to be one of the sons of Yitro. One of the sons of Yitro who actually did not agree with, let's say, with the process or with the inner decision of their father, and they're looking to stop, but they cannot. But Balak cannot stop with the power of his magic, which is the bird, the knowing, the seeing, because the power of Israel is in the mouth, is in the prayer, is in the inner dialogue between that which is outside, meaning one can say a circumlight, and the inner light, and the way that they are able to connect it, and their one can say the character, or the knowing of belonging, because everything that we read in this portion sort of happens in a concealed way, at least from the consciousness of Israel. Maybe not from the consciousness of Moses, who could actually see it and write it. But apart from him, it's very much to do with the unconscious battles that happens in the world and in the minds of people, that actually will affect the way I understand of everything that is not yet clear or reformed or sorted out in Israel. Okay? So there are a few lines which are really, really important in the way that the Zohar is taking us to read the meaning or the intention of this portion. One is that there is a whole battlefield of reformation of the spirit that actually prepares the scene history, yeah? The stage of history as we see it. But the cause is completely concealed from us. So I spoke about this month that has to do with reformation of seeing, and it being a month that grace is being concealed and judgment is more apparent, and our duty is actually to turn it upside down and to see from, or to perceive from judgment the way into grace. Okay? How to connect it to grace. So one of the main portion of the Zohar in teaching or taking us through this is called the Yanukah, or the child. But I wish to speak about more about the sense of the child. The sense of the child is in what he can see, but he is not seeing through the sense of sight. He is seeing through the sense of smell. So he identify, one can say, the true the true structure, or the true character and quality of the spirit of a person through the smell of its clothing, not the clothing, not its corporal clothing, but its spirit clothing. So it's sort of transferring through what we are connecting, and the ability to actually identify people through the smell is attributed to the Messiah. So the child has the attributes of, or let's say, of the end of Reformation, or the end of time as we know it. Meaning the end of time is the end of the invitation to correct or to mend ourselves, okay? And sort of anew. So it's a point of a deep transformation. So this is actually where Zohar wish to lead us into, actually going through the child, through Yanukah, into the changes that are required not only from us, but they are actually required from the Chavurat Zohar, from those who are actually close to Rashbi, and how we actually rattle the self-view. So the self-view is, in a way, the way they see their attainment. So actually whenever he meets them, and he meets in this portion of the Zohar, which is called the Yanukah, he meets two waves of the group of the Zohar. One wave is of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak, which he actually tells them what they actually skipped, or which prayer they skipped that day, that morning. Of course, they have a good reason, but it is not acceptable for the child. And then from that, seeing that they see themselves as the pupil of the most important spirit of the time, they thought that coming to the child, though he is the son of Rabbi Imnona, they're going to or to bless him or to impart to him part of their knowing, and they actually meet something that breaks the view of themselves. So it's a transformation time for the group of the Zohar as well. And even when he actually meets, let's say, the higher ranking members of the Zohar, which is Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Elazar, as well, he rattles their self-view, because he shows them that for the last battles, or the battle for Shekhinah, they actually are not that skilled as they should be. So it all speaks about points of transformation. It means that the point of transformation is always the way that, which is called all nation, means in ourselves, all those parts of the will to receive to oneself, which are going to wage battle on their holding, specifically when they have the sense that something is going to take away completely their dominion. Okay? Even we can see this line going through a very strange story about Bilam and his, one can say, it's a female donkey. You know? Okay, so the ass, as they call it here in this translation. But let's say it's the ass or the donkey or all those parts represent actually the corporeal or the physical form, yeah? Or one can say the power of nature, the law of nature. And it is said that when actually Bilam is decided to actually take the offer of Balak to curse, or to try to curse Israel, to try to curse them through the mouth, through actually using the name. Okay? There is a battle in himself whether to go or not, and sort of the persuasion of honor and money and respect and name, and sort of to become the possibility of becoming famous, known in his craft. Okay? Is actually is the point of decision. And yet, when he's taking and he's riding his ass through some sort of a road in the vineyard, which is important, because vineyard is always the name of Knesset Israel, meaning of Israel as the congregation of Israel. So it's trying to actually walk through the congregation, meaning in the way of the congregation. And it seems that his ass is seeing the guardian or the angel with the sword, and he's not able to see. So it is sort of suggesting that when when a person is going with the idea, even with sometimes sort of and knowing that he's going to a mission which seems to him to be very important, something in his natural state or the natural physical body knows that he's going to actually to harm himself and to harm everything that actually held him so far. So it seems that this part, or the part of nature, knows better than Bilam at that point. Okay? Only when she's sort of, it's almost as sometimes when we do some work, I mean spiritual work, and we are sort of succumbing to our imagination or to our idea about it. Sometimes the body will start to suffer as though it has the premonition of, or in a way it tries to warn us that we're not walking on the right path, or we're entering something that we're not well prepared for it. Okay, so it's on the verge of transformation. All the forces are coming into play, and specifically where the entry of the congregation of Israel into Israel in the language of the intention of Torah is the ability of the spirit to enter the world of Atzilut, to influence, to actually set a different priority and a different reality. And therefore, if it's a beginning of a different state of dominion of the spirit, one can see from the beginning the end. Okay? So therefore, the end of the Zohar treatment of the portion of Balak, okay, will go into actually the last chapter of this Zohar Balak will be in the time of Messiah. So all the battles is actually, including the portion of the child, all the battles is to do in a way because we are in the first step of transformation. So in the first step, there is always the potential of how it will, of its purpose, of the potentiality of feeling, if not seeing, but feeling the purpose of it, where it leads us.